The Coors Brewing Company in Golden, Colorado is a leading force in the brewing industry. Coors is the world's largest single-site brewery. It stretches almost 5 miles through Golden's Clear Creek Valley. The area encompasses all of the brewery operations, as well as subsidiary businesses, including Coors Transportation, the Coors Can Plant, and Coors Ceramics. But let's get back to what has made Coors famous, our beer. A unique part of the Coors brewing process is the huge German handcrafted copper kettles. The Coors legend began over a century ago when Adolf Coors, a German stowaway, worked his way west and started the Golden Brewery in 1873. Young Adolf knew the water was a crucial ingredient and chose Clear Creek Valley with its abundance of pure underground springs as the perfect site to brew quality beer. That tradition has been handed down through each generation of the Coors family. Today, it's continued by the 4th generation of Coors. This progressive family has extended quality to the process itself by establishing environmental preservation and improvement as a top priority. For example, in 1959, the company pioneered the use of aluminum cans in the brewing business, and in turn was first to establish a voluntary recycling program called Cash for Cans. Coors is also committed to reducing pollution of our air and water and is dedicated to energy conservation. Coors has received many awards for its efforts to improve the quality of our environment. The tradition of quality has been preserved in the Coors family residence. The Coors family home was built next to the brewery in 1881 as a 3-room structure. The house was the wedding site for Adolf and his bride, Louisa Weber. As the Coors brewery grew, so did the size of Adolf's family. Room after room was added until the house reached its present size of 22 rooms. Around 1900, Adolf and Louisa traveled around the world. While they were gone, Adolf asked a contractor friend to completely remodel the home's interior, using his best judgment. The result was hand-leaded glass in all windows, doors, and transoms, and the beautiful hand-leaded skylights throughout the home. Other details included the hand-carved woodwork and wainscoting. Adolf was very pleased with the remodeling until he got the bill. That was the end of a beautiful friendship. When Adolf and his family lived in the residence, they chose heavy flocked wallpaper, heavy drapes, and European-style furniture. In 1935, the home was passed along to Adolf Coors Jr., the senior Coors son. May Coors, Adolf Jr.'s wife, had most of the furniture and woodwork glazed and bleached, according to the style of that day. She also had chairs and sofas reupholstered for a more contemporary look. The draperies were updated and Venetian blinds were added. Fortunately, Adolf Jr. insisted that the library was to remain in its original state, and so it was spared. The ornate wood trim was hand-carved in the late 1800s. The fireplace was decorated with tiny hand-laid mosaic tile. The library's ceiling was a canvas that was stretched and glued into place. A French artist was commissioned to paint an original design, Michelangelo style, on the canvas ceiling. The barometer on the bookcase was checked every morning by Adolf Jr. before he started his working day. This ship was made by Pete Coors as a gift to his grandparents. A room of impressive beauty, yet functional, the library was where the Coors families spent most of their time. Another room Adolf Jr. refused to have changed was the master bedroom. The late 1800 rosewood furniture, hand-carved and hand-polished, still keeps its luster. Dresden china lamps brought from Germany by the senior Coors still adorn the nightstands. 7 delicate corded crystal chandeliers grace the walls and accent the Coors family photographs. In the drawing room, visitors admire this crystal chandelier, which was imported from Copenhagen. Only 2 of these fixtures were ever made. These lamps were made by Bill and Joe Coors at the Coors Ceramics plant as gifts to their parents. They represent a type of insulator that the porcelain plant manufactured. A common thread throughout the old home is the magnificent bouquets of fresh-cut flowers and thriving plants. this tradition began with Adolf Sr. and Louisa, who built a greenhouse near their home. Now, more than a century later, thousands of bedding plants, carnations, and roses are grown in the greenhouse each year. The flowers are displayed throughout the entire Coors office complexes and visitors' lounge, as well as among the elegant rooms of the Coors residence. Today, as you walk through the flowing, spacious rooms, you can almost hear echoes of Adolf, Louisa, and the children. You admire the Persian carpets. They are the original rugs that cushion the steps of the first Coors family. You also delight in the pristine oil paintings that added grace and culture to their days. Golden's beginnings were rich and colorful. Founded in 1859, the town served as a transportation hub and supply source for the gold miners. In the 1870s, Golden thrived as a busy railroad headquarters. In the early 1900s, local tourists were drawn to the cable funicular lines that were built up Castle Rock and Lookout Mountain. During this time, Adolf Coors became a leader in the civic affairs of his community, and the Coors home was often a center for many cultural events of the period. As the nation grew, attitudes changed, and the Prohibition advocates tried to change the drinking habits of the entire country. Adolf Coors must have spent many anxious moments contemplating the future of a beer brewer in a dry world.
1914, when Colorado went dry, she put him out of business. That man had a personal fortune of $2 million. Now, that's a lot of money today, but imagine what it was back in 1914. And a little pile of brick buildings here he could have simply walked away from. He was way past his prime in age, was in failing health, but he didn't walk away. He wasn't going to walk out on his people, and he was going to make sure that every one of his people had a job if they wanted a job. And that's what he did. He died in 1929. Still, I don't think he had any dream that Prohibition would ever be repealed. And of course, when it was repealed, and finally in 1934, and the brewing industry got a rebirth, my father was on deck and raring to go, and had been educated in the technology of brewing, and was just ideally positioned to take off, which he did. But getting this company through those 20 dark years took just about every one of those $2 million. Now, that had to have been a sacrifice.
The home that Adolf Sr. built gives the impression of steadfast permanence. Yet, in 1961, the home was moved east about 400 feet onto a corner plot to make room for brewery expansion. At that time, Mrs. Coors Jr. asked that the house be turned about 90 degrees to face Castle Rock instead of the brewery, and today it faces that direction. The residence even contains a therapeutic swimming pool. Added in 1964 for Mrs. Coors Jr., she suffered from arthritis, and the exercise in the pool's warm water brought relief. The pool is not used today. Not so with the home itself. The dining room is frequently filled with guests enjoying a delicious meal and relaxing in the elegant surroundings. These monthly luncheons are designed to enhance communication between Coors and community leaders. A member of the Coors family serves as host. The house, though no longer anyone's home, still serves a valuable purpose. The residence also provides an enjoyable opportunity for Bill Coors as he plays the Steinway grand piano in the drawing room.
I had a bicycle accident when I was 6 years old, and I injured myself and was never allowed any kind of contact sports from that time on. I considered this to be quite an oppressive thing to live down. I was very, very envious of boys that could go out and play baseball and basketball and football and so forth. I couldn't. And so I stayed indoors and banged away at the piano. I'm sure my mother wanted me to be a concert pianist. I had a certain, I guess, talent for it. Of course, my father wanted me to be a chemical engineer. Of course, he won out.
Determination and pride were hallmarks of the first Coors family. Those virtues live on in the Coors generations of today, along with their respect for the history and tradition of the Coors family, symbolized by this very special place, the Coors family residence.